Hi guys, it's Mrs. Millison. Okay, today we're going to learn about arrays. Arrays are just ways for us to hold a collection of related data. Okay, they have to be the same type. So, for example, here I've got 4 string variables that hold 4 different pet names. Okay, so I can create a string array that's going to hold all 4 of these names into that one variable, into that one object, that one array object, so that I can work with them, saving space and all the other stuff. Okay. So how we create arrays, we can create them several ways. Okay. The first way is to actually create the array, initialize it, um, and then, or declare it rather, and then initialize the size. Okay. Because when you create an array, you have to state the size. So I'm going to create an array of strings to hold all these pet names. So I'm going to say string, and now I'm going to hit the little bracket buttons. That signifies an array. So now I have an array of strings, and I'm going to call it pets. Okay. I've just declared. So now I'm going to take that pets and I'm going to initialize it as a new string array. But in the array bracket, I'm going to specify the size of the array. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 4 spaces in my array to hold these 4 pet names. Okay. Anytime you create an array, you have to specify the size. And once you specify the size, it doesn't change. Okay. That size is the number of elements that that array will hold. Okay. So this is one way of creating arrays. Let me write this down. Second way is to do all this on one line. Okay. I tend to not do it this way. I tend to do it on one line. I'm going to do an int. Let's do an int array, and we will call it ages. And we're going to say new int array, and then we'll do 5 ages. Okay. So now this will be an array, and it'll hold 5 integers. Okay. It'll be called ages. So we can do it on 2 lines where we declare and then initialize, or we can declare and initialize all in one line. Okay. Let's do a Boolean one. Let's do a Boolean array, and we'll call this RSVPs equals new Boolean array. And then I go back and fill in. Let's say we're having a party. We invited 10 people. We're just going to keep track of their RSVPs. Okay. The third way is to actually populate the values. Okay. Because right now this pets array, it's got 4 spaces, but they're all empty. I haven't put those pet names in there. Okay. So now let's create a double array, and let's actually populate it. Okay. We'll call this grades. Now this time I'm not going to say new or anything like that. I'm just going to populate it. So I'm going to use my curly brackets, and I'm going to put in several grades. So let's see, 78, and separating with a comma. I think that's enough. We'll just do 4 grades. Close my curly bracket, do my semicolon. So now this will automatically create the grades array with a size 4, just like this, to hold these 4 elements. Okay, let's compile, make sure I didn't make any syntax errors. Okay, I'm just getting the warning that none of these have been used. Okay, I don't have any errors, I just have warnings, and I haven't printed anything. Okay. We can't print anything yet because we haven't learned how to use, or we'll go through how to print using a loop in the second video. But now let's take this and let's look at the lengths of our arrays. Okay, so we'll get the lengths. And it's just like you would think it would be. Okay, so if I did pets.length, it should tell me 4 because the pets array has 4 elements in it. Okay. Now, length is not a method for arrays. It's actually an instance variable in the array class. So I don't need the brackets that insinuate a method. I can just do the dot length. Okay. Because that is an instance variable in the array class that you don't need to worry about. Okay. So of course, if I tried to run this, nothing would happen. So let's print this. And it should print 4. Okay. Let's run it. Okay, and I got 4. So let's print some of the other lengths. Of course, I'm going to cheat a little bit and copy and paste. Let's see, we'll do our ages, our RSVP, and our grades. So if we print ages length, that should be 5. My RSVP length should be 10. And then my grades length should be 4. Okay, I didn't specify it when I created the array, but I did specify it when I put the elements in it. Okay. So let's see. I should get what? 4, 5, 10, and 4. Okay, and indeed I did. Okay. All right. So now let's populate some of these arrays that don't have anything in them. Okay. So let's take our pet array that has 4 empty spaces right here, and let's put in these animal names. Okay. So all I have to do is come down to my pets and specify the element number, okay, the element index number. Now, the indexes work the same way in arrays that they do in strings. So 78 here has an index of 0. The second element has an index of 1, and so forth, okay? So if I know my length is 4, this last item is always index of length minus 1, okay? So I know my pet has 4 elements, so I'm going to have indexes of 0 to 3, okay? So I'm going to put animal names in each index. Whoops. And then the last one. Okay. So I can populate my array afterwards. Now my ages and my Boolean one is still empty. Okay, I could populate it if I wanted to. Let me compile. All right, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and print one of these elements. Okay, and again, right now we haven't gone through how to loop and print all the elements, so we'll just print a single element. Okay, so if I just want to print kitty, I just have to have the second indexed element from the pets array. So I'm just going to do this. And that should print me kitty. And it did. Okay, so let's come down. Let's print grades. Let's print this 100 score from the grades array. Grades 0, 1, 2, 3. It's index 3. And that should get me 100, right? Okay, and it does. Let's change it. Let's change it and then print it again. Okay, so now I'm going to set grades index 3. Let's say they got some extra credit, so I'll do 105. Okay, so now if I reprint it, I should now see 105 because what I've done here is I've updated that third index value from 100 to 105. So when it runs it a second time, it should see it. Okay, and there it is. Okay. So that's basically it for the first part of arrays. Okay, so we can create arrays in 3 different ways where we declare and initialize in 2 different lines. We declare and initialize in 1 line, which is what I tend to do, or we declare and we initialize and we populate the elements all in 1 line. This is helpful if you already know what's going in the array. If you only know the size of the array and you're going to populate it later, I would do one of these 2. Okay, and then of course we can always find the length of our array. And again, it's not a method, so you don't have to worry about the double parentheses afterwards. But you can find the length of your array. You can populate or change any value of an array by simply accessing the array name and the index value and then putting in whatever you want it to be. And that's also how you can print an item from an array. Okay. And again, in the next video, we'll go through looping where we can print all the elements of an array. Okay, I think that's it. I'm looking at my notes, making sure I got everything. I think that's it for this first section. Okay, hopefully it was helpful. Hopefully this was helpful, and I will see you all later.